Welcome to Abide. Thank you to the worship team for leading us in a moment of worship. I love that song. I am loved. Father, I'm loved by you. Woo! Thank you. It's always important. I mean, worship does that. It reminds us of who we are, because man, sometimes we don't feel love. Maybe sometimes we didn't get our cups filled during the week. Maybe we had a tough week. Maybe things didn't go according to plan. Maybe stuff happens, we have good seasons, difficult seasons, sunshine and rain, and it's a mix of everything. Worship, what it does is it gives us an opportunity to pray with our eyes open, with our hearts open in community, and to make these declarations, to remind ourselves, no, I am loved. And maybe I don't feel the love yet, but if I keep reminding myself time and time again to not let my feelings dictate my reality, but to remember that this is the truth, that the Father welcomes us home, that he receives us with arms wide open, that there is no shame, there is no disappointment in his eyes, just love. Wow. That does something in us that I think begins to slowly but surely transform the way we think about ourselves and about others. So today, I'm super glad that you guys are all here. I expect to see you later today. If you don't come, we're not friends anymore. I'm just kidding. It's okay. You better have a really good excuse though, because free food. I mean, at the park on a beautiful August day where the temperature is not over 100 degrees. So even if you don't know me, that's okay. You're welcome to my party. Welcome to have some good food. It's going to be great. It's going to be awesome. So would love to see you guys there. I do something every week. If you notice, I'm always standing there in the back and I'm jotting down names. I love what this preacher said at SoCal. Those of you guys who were there, you'll remember this. We tend to say of ourselves, I'm bad at remembering names, and that just repeats that vicious cycle of then we're just, that's our identity, right? Like we're just saying, I'm loved. Well, if I say that I'm bad at remembering names, then I live into that reality. So I've been practicing, not just saying that I'm getting better at remembering names, but actually like, so I stand back there and I'm like, oh, it's Daniel and Paulina, the Luna family. I do remember all of them. It's just so many. I'm like, the Tang and Karen and the kids. Good to see you guys. Bonnie, Courtney. I saw you guys in Lincoln. Yeah. I saw Ileana and sister, right? It's good to see you guys. It's been a while, so we missed you guys. Megan and Abby were sitting over here. Megan, Abby, BTS fans. BTS. Oh, did I just throw you off? She's like, oh, God. Well, you didn't invite us to the concert, so you get called out. Mimi's also, she's trying to hide back there. She's like, don't call me. I have a deep appreciation for the people in the back because they've been running the service since like 9 a.m. They come in, they come early, they set it all up. I know they always catch a lot of flack from me and a lot of stares and like making sure that, they're paying attention. But I appreciate Sarai and Clayton and Mimi's for what they're doing back there. They are the unsung heroes of our services. I got, I already said Clayton, Emily, Chris, and Gabi here. Welcome. If you guys don't know where they are, they're just like over there. Everyone stare at them. Look at where they're at. Beth, our photographer, Cheryl and baby and friend, right? Yeah. Awesome. And then the McPayo family, same thing. The McPayo family. It's just all encompassing. There's so many. Isaiah, I saw Isaiah sitting by himself. Someone invite Isaiah to sit next to you. Poor guy's like, look at him. He's just over there like, well, me and my lonely self, I guess I'm just going to sit here. Just that, no one noticed me. Moises and the wifey, Maggie, Jaime, Melanie, Jasmine and her family, they're here. Oh, there's Isaiah's friend. There's someone coming. Yeah. See, Isaiah was just waiting for his friends. He's like, man, they're coming. It's the two Isaiahs, by the way. They're both named Isaiah. So Isaiah G and Isaiah V. That's kind of what we'll do. And everyone else, if I didn't call your name, It's probably because I forgot it. And so on the way out, please remind me what your name is, because I am getting better at remembering people's names. I am getting better at remembering people's names, okay? So here we are. Today, we're going to do a new sermon series. We're calling it Back to School because, hey, it's back to school. And some of you guys are like, not anymore. I'm done. I'm looking at David and Abby and everyone else who's like, college is past. I'm done with school. You no longer have to remember those days of getting up really early in the morning and just dragging your body out because you'd rather be sleeping because you enjoyed summer break so much that it's so hard to get back on the rhythm. And so maybe you're done with school. Maybe you are in. Maybe this is week number 1 for you and you were like, woo, that was a ton. Maybe you are mom and dad now. And now you're the one that has to wake up the kids and you're like, oh, I remember I was such a difficult child to get up, and now maybe you understand now and you're like, oh, mom was right. Everything that I did to her now is coming back. Anyway, whatever season of life you find yourself in, all of us today are going back to school. We're going back to school because we're going to be starting a series looking at the life lessons from Jesus' teachings. Jesus is the master of all teachers. Didn't have a degree, didn't graduate from a prestigious university, but his teachings 2,000 years later still continue to be studied, still continue to be explored. There's new truths to be unpacked. There's just so much, there's a wealth of knowledge and wisdom there. And this is a teacher who just had a very unique style of teaching. He was not, he didn't fill up an auditorium like we do here. He preferred to go by the beach, just go on a walk with his people, with his disciples, grill up some taquitos de pescado, go fishing and just grill something up with his friends and just draw upon the surroundings to bring out these really powerful life teachings. If you were here in the Spanish service, do not check out because today's sermon for a bite is not the same as the sermon for the English service. Some of you guys are like, oh man, I heard that one already. Like, no, it's a different thing. So don't worry. I know you guys were like, oh, thank goodness. I don't want to sit through that again. And it's different. It's contextualized to this audience. This is a group of young people with hopes and dreams and aspirations and your whole life there right ahead of you. But this is what we're going to be doing for the next few weeks. We're going to be going back to school. We don't have to bring a backpack. We don't have to wear the uniform. We get to dress how we like. We get to be comfortable, AC room. Anyway, it's going to be great, but you may want to take some notes. Not because what I'm going to say is wow, but because what Jesus has to say is wow. And the more you sit with it, the more you process it, anybody see that movie? Amaze, Amaze, Amaze. No, wow. Crickets. Ooh, wrong audience. That's awkward. You can ask me about it later. Those of you who were like, oh, yeah, Amaze, Amaze. Yeah. You'll know what I'm talking about. But today, so we're going to explore one of Jesus' teachings. And before we do so, I have this cute little picture up here. Are they twins? Do they look like twins to you guys? No? Kind of? I know I couldn't tell either. I don't have an answer. I don't know if they're twins or not. It's just a picture that I found that I think really highlights this experience that we've all lived through at some point. And if you're like, no, everybody but me, then this, you can skip out. You can walk out. You don't have to hear this sermon because you should be preaching it maybe. But every one of us has experienced some degree of this picture here. We cross our arms, we put our face down, we are frustrated, we're angry, we are upset. It's the way that they said something to us. They didn't let us use their clothes. They didn't share the food. They didn't share the toy. They gave us a funny look. Man, in high school, students are weird. I recall a very specific moment that maybe I've shared with you guys, but there was one occasion. I went to public school. I'm sure this happens in Adventist schools as well. But I remember after one period was done and the bell rang and you're walking through, all of these halls, I remember something that I thought was really interesting. I have an extreme aversion to conflict. I am a people pleaser by nature. I don't like to offend or upset. So I'm always, kind of, trying to be very mindful of other people. But I saw something interesting. There were these two students. One of them was opening up his locker, getting his books, putting on his backpack, when all of a sudden this other student bumps into him. I don't know if he did it on accident. I don't know if he did it on purpose, whatever it was. But there began this show off, this tension, this performance of alpha males, both puffing up their chests. Not a single word was spoken, mind you. Nothing was said. They just had a look about each other that was like, everybody understood what was going on. I was just like, yo, what's happening? And I was like, yo, what is going on here? And these two dudes who don't know each other, who just happen to bump into each other there down the hall, over that, we're about to start some big old thing. And I have a confession to make. Once I started becoming part of the in crowd, I didn't do that. Don't. That wasn't me. But one of my friends one day pulled all of his friends together and said, hey, it's going down after school across the street. Because it's not on school property anymore. It's across the street. And you guys got to back me up. You guys got to be there. And I was like, yeah, sure. And there I go. After school, everybody found out about this thing going down, and there go a flock of students across. Do not follow this example, guys. If any one of you guys is thinking this is a great idea, do not do this. This is a lesson in what not to do. But there we go. We're flocking around, and same thing happens. Big old circle gets formed. And everybody, these two guys are in the middle, and, I've been rewatching Hamilton ever since I preached about it, because it's just, anyway, you know how they do the 10 paces? You're supposed to, but before you do the shoot off, before you do that, you're supposed to try to see if you can resolve it amicably. You're supposed to try to figure out if, hey, is there a way, can we just not do this, right? Nobody has to shoot anybody. Can we? No? Okay, well, I guess we got, and so that's what is happening here. It's a weird thing, high school jungle kind of dynamic. And these two dudes, they square up, and I'm just standing there. And I remember witnessing what happens. They start throwing punches, and it's not like watching a boxing match or anything. Everyone's like arms are just flinging around, and it's a mess, and people get bloodied. And then at the end of that, my friend who happened to win, I guess, goes up to the guy and puts his hand out, like to shake his hand. The other person refuses. And I just thought, that just seems like the oddest way to finish that. You two just try to beat up on each other, and now you're just gonna oh yeah, we're cool, okay, walk away, everything's fine. We all leave. The person wasn't really happy about it, because how would you, right? You just got beat up, the last thing you want to do is shake somebody's hand and you leave. Whether we've beat somebody else up or been beaten up on, you can identify with this. It happens often between siblings, right? I'm looking at the Lunas. No, I'm just kidding. It might happen between, it often happens between family members, and it creates this weird dynamic. There's a tension. It's unspoken, but as you start getting over it, some funny things start happening. You're still angry, but you'll share a little piece of your food with them, or a candy that you had, but I'm still angry at you. Don't talk to me. Don't talk to me. And little by little, you kind of start coming back to each other. This is a feature of our humanity. It's what we do. It's what happens to us. And Jesus had an interesting teaching about this. And that's what we're going to explore here today. But I want you, as we read through Jesus' teaching, I want you to bring to mind your enemy. I think to some extent, we all have somebody that rubs us the wrong way. We just really don't like. Whenever we see them walking toward us, we're like, we pretend we don't see them. We ignore them. We intentionally avoid them. They stir up awkward emotions in us. And And so bring that person to mind. It could be a coworker. It might be a coworker, that's just like, oh, that person, or it may be somebody in your family right now. It may be a situation, whatever it is. Bring that person to mind. Center that person there, because what Jesus is going to say is for you here today. Okay, so we're going to look at it. In Matthew chapter 5, if you have your Bibles, you can follow along there, because I'm going to be sharing from this paraphrase of the text that I like. It's a more contemporary language. It's from the Message. Maybe you guys enjoy reading from that one too. I like reading from a variety of different translations. This is a paraphrase. It's not a translation. It's a paraphrase. So it's taken the words of the text and modified them in such a way that it's more familiar language to us today. But we're looking at Matthew chapter 5, verses 43 to 48. I'm sure if you've been in church around for a while, you've come across this text, you've heard somebody preach on it. This is what Jesus is teaching. So he's sitting on the mountainside. This is commonly known as the Sermon on the Mount. And he's got this audience, this mixed bag of people there listening to Jesus. Jesus actually has some of his enemies in the audience. Imagine preaching to people that don't like you. That must be really awkward. But Jesus is a masterful teacher. He's not worried about that. He's not anxious about that. He's got no beef with them. They have beef with him, but he's okay with them. And then he begins to say this. You're familiar with the old written law. Now, this community knows about Moses' law, the Old Testament, the Torah. They know, they have all these rules there. So he says, you're familiar with those things, right? It says, love your friend. We like that part. That we're okay with that. If there's Buffalo Bills fans, you're automatically a friend with Pastor Lamont. Like, it don't matter. You don't need to know anything else about you. You're friends. And you love that friend. You love the people that you have something in common with, that you go to BTS concerts with. That's why I'll never be I want to be friends with Jair and them, but they don't invite me. So, it is what it is. And so you love these people because you have things in common with them. Well, actually, I discovered that, we like, some of us saw the World Cup together. And so that kind of, brings us together. Woo. And Jesus says there is an unwritten companion to that law, right? Love your friend. And its unwritten companion, hate your enemy. Ooh, yeah, I like that because I don't like that person. I'm challenging that, he says. He says, I'm telling you to love your enemies. Let them bring out the best in you, not the worst. See, Jesus, you had us right there. Those first two lines, we like the old written law. We like that eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, love your friends, hate your enemies. This is my group. They're over there. We really like that. That's our default setting. We are very tribal in that sense. We identify something in common with another person. They are part of my tribe. Those are my people. I like those people, whether they be Adventists, they might be moms too, whatever it might be. There's just some connection there. You might be a matcha gal. That might be your thing. And Udi and I went on a little matcha date this week, and it was great. It was great. I didn't have matcha though, but next time. And so we have this affinity. We have this way of connecting with people over these shared interests. But then Jesus, as he so masterfully does, takes it up a notch. I'm going to challenge that way of thinking. I know it's easy to love the people that you like, the people that you have things in common with. I'm telling you guys to love your enemies. Now, mind you, Jesus is establishing a new community. He's talking about this within the context of the kingdom of heaven. He is giving them a new way of being, a new identity, not one shaped by their surroundings, because in their surroundings, as you'll see, this is very common. You got the group over here of the jocks, you got the nerds, you've got the, what is it? What other groups were there in high school, guys? I don't know. I was part of the chess, the drama dorks, the soccer. What groups did you guys belong to? Dance. You guys had dance. Yeah, we have an easy way of and even within Adventism, we like doing this too. Oh, we are the Adventists. Oh, this is, oh, no, we're not, no, we're not Baptists. We're not, no, we're not, no, we are oh, okay. So we draw lines and we circle ourselves. We like this. This happens naturally with us. And so Jesus then comes onto the scene and he says, yeah. Not in the kingdom. Out there, the way of the world, yeah, but not in my kingdom. I'm going to challenge that. So when your enemy, when you're face to face with them and you feel the tension in your body rise, the blood pressure elevate you, your face gets hot and you see that person, you just want, let them bring out the worst, the best in you, not the worst. And then he goes on to say, I like this paraphrase. He says, I think I missed the text here. He talks about what God does. So I'm going to open it up here because I may have lost a slide in translation. And so bear with me just a moment while I pull it up. Because he talks about God's attitude toward people. And so he says this. You're familiar with the old written law. He says, let them bring out the best in you, not the worst. When someone gives you a hard time, he says, that's the part I skipped. When someone gives you a hard time, respond with the supple moves of prayer. The translation you guys are familiar with is, pray for those who curse you, right? That's what you're probably reading there. I like that. When someone gives you a hard time, think about that. I think you've all been there. Somebody said certain thing, they're just pushing all of your buttons and they're just, Jesus says, respond with the supple moves of prayer, because then you are working out your true selves, your God-created selves. And this is where we catch up. See, this is what God does, he says. He gives the best. Notice what he does. The sun to warm and the rain to nourish to his favorite people. To the obedient ones. To everybody. He's drawing upon the lesson. He's not saying, hey, look, don't do as I say, do as... No, he's saying, look, this is what God does. He's not asking you to do something that even God doesn't do. God does this. When you look out at the world, the sun is shining. It's not deciding to shine on, well, you behaved or you misbehaved or you're part of my group or you're not part of my... No. The sun shines for everybody. If it's hot for everybody. And guess what? When it cools down for everybody too. And the rain comes down on everybody. And everybody gets the benefits. Everybody gets to share in this. Regardless, he says, the good and the bad. The nice and the nasty. And so maybe somebody in the audience is justifying themselves and like, come on, look at the love I have for my friends, for my people. I mean, that's got to be worth something. He says, well, if all you do is love the lovable, if the only thing you do is like the people you like, the friends that you always hang out with, the people that, you have stuff in common, if you do that, do you expect a bonus? Do you think that's like, oh, wow, anybody can do that. Anybody can do that. That's not a thing. Anybody can do it. And then he goes on to say, if you simply say hello to those who greet you, do you expect a medal? I like that part because there are people that I know in my life that have rubbed me the wrong way, that have annoyed me, have pushed my buttons, said stuff, whatever. And the first thing that goes is saying hello to them, right? I'm not gonna say hi to that person. No, they've been talking. They've been saying stuff. I know it. It's on social media. I'm not saying. And so Jesus says, if you just go around greeting the people who greet you, who like you, any run-of-the-mill sinner does that. Anybody. Here comes a twist. In a word, what I'm saying is, grow up. I love this paraphrase. I love it. It's just, grow up. Come on. You're not in kindergarten anymore. Grow up. Too bad. You don't like it? Eat your vegetables. Some of you guys have better parenting styles than I would in my imaginary self, so you can correct me after. But Jesus is saying, grow up. You are kingdom subjects. Remember who you are. This is who you are. Not that out there. Not the way that you've been built. Not the way that you've been programmed. Not the way that society does that. Because in society, this is what happens. You treat me nice. You scratch my back. I scratch your back. We both climb the ladder. We treat each other good. But the moment they turn their back on you, the moment they stop supporting you, the moment they do something that just mildly offends you, ticks you off, oh, but I'm cutting off all ties. Bye-bye. Ghosting, etc. I'm moving on. Done. And Jesus is like, actually, that's not how we solve things here. And then you run into church people and certain church circles, and you begin to find out that churches start popping up in different places because two brothers in the church couldn't get along. They fought over whether that plate, should be set there or it should be set over here at the potluck line. And they said, you know what? I don't like you anymore. So my friends, come over here with me. We're going to start a new church. We're going to do our own thing over here on the side. And people can't deal with it. People can't fix the relationship. There's no reconciliation. People's prides and egos get so wounded that they just start going around and they will jump from one to another community. They'll go over here, then they'll go over there. None of you guys here ended up because of that, right? None of you. And so Jesus says, remember who you are. You are kingdom subjects. You're not of this world. You're kingdom subjects. You are royalty. And in royalty, this is how we do things. In the kingdom of the skies, of the heavens, this is how we do things. We don't operate at that level. That's for babies. Grow up. I can imagine Jesus is probably saying it much more gently than I am. But that is the leveling up that Jesus is calling us to. So he says, now live like it. This is who you are, so live like it. Live out your God-created identity. Live generously and graciously toward others the way God lives toward you. You see that beautiful sun that came out to shine on you? That's how much God loves you. So now you can't turn around and say, oh, no, not for you. No. Everybody else but not you. No. The way God lives for you, now be a channel of blessing and let it go to other people. You've all heard the stories of the Starbucks lines where somebody pays for the person behind them, and it starts as the nice little chain, right? And everybody's having a great time. When you find out that the person in front of you paid for it, you're like, wow, that is so cool. But what happens when you're the person that shows up to the line, you're ready to pay, and they give you the great news? You know what? The person in front of you paid for your drinks. And you're just like, fantastic. And you drive away. You cut the chain. It ended with you. You had an opportunity to be, and somebody's feeling guilty here. They're like, oh, pastor's son. It is the worst of all things to have received all of these blessings, to live in this abundance, and then to cut it off and say, right here, it ends. And that's what happens with swamps, right? It's a pool of water that has no outflow. It lives just for itself. And then it gets green and it's algae and it gets nasty. But a river that flows and that feeds others, oh, it's beautiful. This is the kind of life that Jesus wants for us as royalty, as royal subjects, as part of his kingdom. So live toward others the way God lives toward you. Let yourself be that channel of blessing that everything runs through. And so, see, here it is. This is the part that I had missed. When someone gives you a hard time, respond with the supple moves of prayer. It's not about putting your fists up. It's about putting your hands up in prayer for that person. And so the thought for today that I can sum up this lesson with is that the true test of a disciple is not how you love Jesus. I like this. This isn't original to me, by the way. This idea has floated around for quite some time out there. People have said it in different ways, but this is the way that I phrase it. I prefer this. The true test of a disciple is not how you love Jesus. It's how you love Judas. You see, Jesus on the night of On the night of Passover, when he gathers with his disciples, he sits at the table there, and he knows that someone's been planning to stab him in the back, that someone's been working against him behind the scenes. Oh, he knows. It's no secret to him. And so as he's sitting there with the 12 all around him, if you were witnessing the scene, you wouldn't know what Jesus knows. You would be surprised to know that Jesus knows that someone's going to betray him. That someone's sitting because Jesus doesn't treat him any differently. They all gather around. They all sit at the table. He gets up because everyone's looking around like, I'm not going to wash the feet. You smell Peter's feet? No. And that athlete's foot, oh my, no, not me. Anybody? And so everyone's like, no, not going to be me. No. He called me first. I'm Peter. I'm the rock, so y'all, that's you guys. Maybe John, who's the baby in the group. Nobody's doing it. Jesus gets up. And everyone's like, what's this? He's rooted in his identity. It doesn't take anything away from him to wash people's feet because he knows who he is. So he begins to wash everybody's feet. It highlights Peter, but he goes around and he washes everyone's feet. And he sits at the table and he begins to give this beautiful sermon about what he's been praying to the Father, how they would be one, how they would be united, how the disciples will be known by their love, all of these beautiful things. He loves Judas to the very end. And then in that final moment, he gives him an opportunity. One of you guys is going to betray me. Notice he doesn't would have been me. One of you guys is going to betray me. Right away, right? Not Kenny. I should have looked over there. And even then, the disciples are confused. One of the gospel writers says that they were all they didn't really understand what was even going on. That when Jesus tells Judas, what you must do, go do quickly, they were like, oh, he's going to go buy bread. That's what he didn't put him on blast. He says, Judas, I know what you're up to, bro. Don't fake. No. I know. He didn't do that. Loves him to the very end. And even when Jesus heads out to the Garden of Gethsemane with his disciples and he knows he's about to be betrayed, and there comes Judas. And the way that he chooses to betray Jesus, he's not going to dap him up or anything. Yo, my bro. He's like, the one that I kiss. Oh, my. Anybody see the Spider-Man movie? Don't raise your hand. But you remember the scene I'm talking about. I'm not going to spoil it for you guys, but you remember that scene where Peter and that person, they kiss, and you're like, wow. And then you find out that it wasn't really, David's like, I see. You see, a kiss is such an intimate act. Of all the ways that Judas could have chosen to betray Jesus, this is the way. And so Jesus, I see him there in the Garden of Gethsemane. The soldiers, you see the lanterns, the fire, everything all around. The soldiers with their spears. And he calls him friend. You betray me with a kiss? Even then, there is grace pouring out from Jesus to the very person that's going to turn him in. And then moments later, you see Jesus hanging on the cross. And you don't see resentment and anger and frustration. And man, because if I had all of that power and I'm just lightning strikes, boom, 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 done. And he's looking at the people who are crucifying, the people who are mocking him. And what flows from Jesus' lips is this very lesson. The way that the Father has loved me, so I love you. Father, forgive them. They don't even know what they're doing. What? How? Who? How? That? I give up. I don't know how you do that. But that is precisely what Jesus is calling us to hear. That level. This is the standard. Yeah, you've got people talking behind your back. You've got people planning. You've got people saying all of these people making up stories. Whatever it might be. They make you feel a certain way. They look at you. They did that thing to you. Whatever it might be. Jesus says, remember who you are. Because what people say about you does not define you. What people think about you does not, what they post on social media, that doesn't define you. None of that matters. You know who you are. Remember who you are. Because the moment you forget or you begin to believe that that's the reality of who you are, oh, then you begin to act in that way. But if you remember who you are, a kingdom subject, royalty, heir to the king, then they can come at you. It's okay. Let them say what they need to say. I know who I am. Let them make up stories. That's fine. That's fine. I don't need to defend myself. I don't need to say anything. I know who I am. It changes the way you walk. It changes your attitude toward life. It changes how you behave, how you are a kingdom subject. So the true test of a disciple, man, if you ever wonder, how am I doing spiritually? Think of the person you like the least. If you ever want to gauge how spiritual you are, how you are maturing spiritually, don't give yourself the easy test of, well, I've read the whole Bible. I know all of these Bible verses. I go to this many church services. I attend all these conferences. I serve in all these ways. Those are good things, very important things for us to do. But the true test, I think, is how we love the people we like the least. That's the truth. We can all think of somebody right now that's just like, I don't like that person. And you're wrestling with the tension of what you do with that now. That's the true test. You can show off, you can list off a bunch of Bible verses and see Paul explores this in 1 Corinthians. He says, man, I can speak in heavenly, like the language of the angels. I can even give my body to be burned as a sacrifice. I can do all these very amazing, like very spiritual things. But if I don't have any love, I am a clanging, I'm the most annoying thing. You ever have I used to be the kid who would just like sit on an instrument, just like clang, clang, clang. You know how annoying that is? Paul is like, that's what we become. When we brag about all of this very spiritual stuff, but we can't love that person that's in front of us, created in God's image, all we are is a noisy sound. It's just annoying to people. That's all it is. So you want to know that you are really maturing, you are really growing in Christ. How do you love the person you like the least? Think about that person. Might be a family member. It might be somebody here in church. If we're honest, like, man, it can be some of the people that we serve with, that we work with, that we're just like, it's the way they talk, it's the way they look at me, that thing. It might be something from like 20 years ago that they didn't share their popsicle with you and you're still upset about it. It might be the smallest thing, but there's just somebody that you're like, I don't like that person. Well, that person then is your greatest opportunity to develop Christ-like character. They are your best teacher. It's easy to like Jesus because Jesus. But that person, that's our teacher. And God has them there in our life for us to learn this very important lesson. That how we love others, Jesus said to his disciples, by this, the world will know that you are my disciples. Not by the size of your buildings, by the number of conferences that you do, the number of baptisms that you have, how nicely your worship team performs. No. The world will know. It'll be convinced for sure that you are my disciples if you love one another. And so here we are, part of this abide community. And my challenge for you here today, as I invite the worship team to come back up, is to stick with it. Community is great, like I said, when we have things in common, everything is going well, we're all agreeable, we're all nice. But like any family, the more time you spend in that community, the more of our humanity begins to shine through. And then you begin to see those little things that, like, when you first started dating that person, everything about them was amazing. And then you move in with them after you got married. And then it's everything about them that annoys you. It's the way that they breathe. My goodness, they can't even breathe around you anymore because the way you breathe. Then it's all of a sudden you just begin to see, it's like the rose-colored glasses just fell off. And you're like, what did I do? What? No, that's just how they've always been. And I think God in his infinite wisdom probably wired us that way, because if we really saw the person for who they are from the get-go, we might not get involved in that mess. But no, there's this filter we see it through. And it happens also then in community. The longer you keep gathering, the more time you spend with each other here in this community, the more you invest, the more you serve together, the more you are part of the team, the more time that you invest, the more time that is shared together, you begin to see the cracks, the warts, the things that rub you the wrong way. And the temptation is to, I'm gonna find a better community. So I don't really like what's happening here. I don't really like these people anymore. So I'm gonna go somewhere else. And the same thing happens there. You get there and it's, oh, wow, they welcome me. Wow, wow, man, this church is amazing and everything's great. And then as some time goes by, the cracks start showing up again. And then maybe you'll go to another community, and then another, and then one day you wake up and you realize, oh, what if I was contributing to the situation? So what if running, avoiding, escaping, what if instead of doing that, I stayed rooted? What if instead of pretending like the problem doesn't exist or realize that it's here also, what if I chose to abide? You like how I did that? What if I chose to abide? What if I chose to remain? What if I chose to stay and work together to become together the kind of community that Jesus envisioned, a kingdom community where people were hurt, yes, absolutely, but where something beautiful like reconciliation could also take place, where those wounds, those cuts, those fractured relationships could experience restoration. Where that enemy that you had, as fierce as they might have been, all of a sudden becomes a friend and then a brother. And that your relationship is even closer, tighter, more close-knit, more valuable because you worked through it than any other shallow relationship you could have had that was just on the surface. Because that's what ends up happening with many of us, is that we live on the surface of things. We like going to the new thing because it's exciting. We like looking, and so the saying goes, well, the grass must be greener over there. And the wise ones in here, you know that the grass is greener where you water it. We like, oh, it looks so nice over there. That person, maybe I got the wrong, no, maybe I should go there. No, maybe I should go to that community. No. The grass is not greener on the other side. Someone is choosing to invest their time, their energy to water that grass, to take care of it. You can do the same thing here. You just don't want to. But the moment you decide to say, I get it now. This is an opportunity for me to grow, to be a kingdom subject, to really live out who I am an heir, a child of the King, I'm going to pour into where I'm at. Not because I have to, but because I want to. So here we are, all of you, choosing to invest in this community. I want to invite you to stay rooted. I know it's easy to want to get up, to leave, to no. It's going to get messy, and I want to invite you to get your hands dirty with us. Abide is built on this theme of gardening, of flowers, of fields, and the work is messy. I don't want any of you guys to think like, oh, everything must be great there. No, there's going to be messiness to it, but that's all a part of the process. It's a part of learning. It's a part of growing. Let it bring out the best in you, not the worst. Remember who you are. As we worship, as we share this last song together, may that be your reminder today. Remember who you are. Live out your true identity. Grow up. God bless.